Zion Williamson's dominance on the basketball court is the kind of spectacle that forces everyone in the building, teammates, opponents, coaches, analysts, and fans, to pause and recognize that they are witnessing something that feels equal parts unstoppable force and once-in-a-generation marvel, because what he does is not simply playing the game but redefining how power, agility, and finesse can merge into one athlete. Every possession begins with an aura, a tension that opponents feel even before he touches the ball, because they know what is coming but they also know that they can't do anything to stop it. When Zion is left open, he doesn't hesitate, punishing defenses either by knocking down a short jumper or, more dangerously, exploding into the lane with a first step that feels unfair for someone built like a tank. Once he builds momentum downhill, the physics of the moment tilt completely in his favor. Defenders bounce off him, arms flail at the ball, rotations collapse in desperation, and yet the finish almost always looks inevitable. Even when he misses a shot, the play rarely ends for the defense, because his hunger for the rebound, his ability to gather his own miss in traffic, and his sheer willpower to go straight back up through contact transform broken possessions into statement baskets. What makes Zion frightening is not just that he can bulldoze through people, but that he does so with an agility that borders on surreal. Sidestepping a charge, spinning into space, or using a soft, controlled reverse layup that leaves you wondering how someone that strong can also be that graceful. At times, he shifts into overdrive, and that's when defenders' fears become reality. One spin move at the free throw line and he's at the rim, one quick crossover against a slower big and he's hammering home a dunk, one back-down dribble and he's powering an and-one finish that ignites the arena. Opponents study the tape, prepare for his tendencies, and crowd the paint, but none of it seems to matter, because Zion doesn't just play through schemes, he obliterates them with a mixture of raw power and instinct. Plays that would knock other players off balance only feed his engine, because his lower body strength and explosive burst keep him centered no matter how much contact he absorbs. That's why every trip down the lane carries the possibility of a poster dunk, and not just any dunk, but one that shifts momentum, silences critics, and fuels the mythos that Zion Williamson isn't just a player, he's a storm contained within a jersey. But Zion's greatness is not only defined by his ability to score, it's magnified by how he controls the space around the rim in every possible way. He crashes the boards like a man possessed, snatching rebounds in traffic with hands that seem to vacuum the ball out of the air, then immediately going back up before defenders have even landed. Those putbacks are more than second-chance points. They're emotional daggers that demoralize opponents because they realize that even when they've done their job, even when they've forced a miss, it still wasn't enough. His footwork is deceptive in its simplicity, catching big men flat-footed as he pivots, spins, or slips into angles they can't match, creating shots where none should exist. Even when defenses send doubles, his timing and balance allow him to split through bodies, absorb hacks across the arms, and still muscle the ball through the rim with a shrug. Watching him is like watching the laws of basketball bend in real time. He's too quick for bigs, too strong for wings, too explosive for guards, and too determined for anyone to truly neutralize. And yet what separates Zion from being just a highlight machine is the relentlessness, the way possession after possession he keeps applying pressure until defenses break. There are no easy possessions when he's on the floor, because every drive feels like a siege, every cut like a blade slicing into the defense, every rebound like theft of an opponent's hope. His impact resonates in ways that can't always be measured in box scores. It's in the way defenders sag in fear, the way teammates feed off his energy, the way crowds rise before he even leaves the ground because they can sense what's about to happen. The theatrics of Zion's game amplify this aura even further, because when he flexes after a basket, when he lets out a primal roar, or when he declares to the world, "I'm too strong, I'm too agile, I'm too explosive," it doesn't register as arrogance but as truth, undeniable evidence written in the bruises of defenders and the roar of arenas. His dunks aren't just points on a scoreboard, they are cultural events, replayed endlessly, shared across social media, remembered by fans who were there live as a moment when they felt the building shake. But his finesse is equally impressive, because for all the thunderous jams, there are also the scoop layups in traffic, the soft-touch floaters, the crafty reverses where he shields the ball like a guard. This balance between violence and grace is what makes him uniquely captivating. He overwhelms you with brute force one moment, then reminds you of his touch and body control the next. In many ways, Zion represents a new archetype of basketball dominance, not confined to positions or labels, but existing in a category of his own, a point forward with the body of a linebacker, the explosiveness of a sprinter, and the touch of a skilled finisher. Every game he plays feels like a reminder that dominance can take many forms, but true greatness comes when a player can impose his will regardless of the circumstance. Against smaller defenders, Zion simply lowers his shoulder, seals space, and finishes like they're invisible. Against bigger defenders, he beats them with speed, footwork, and the ability to maneuver around their size while still delivering power at the rim. Against elite rim protectors, he welcomes the challenge, attacking their bodies, forcing them to foul, or contorting in the air for acrobatic finishes that highlight his flexibility. Coaches talk about effort and energy, but with Zion, it feels innate, as if he was built to play this game with a gear that others cannot reach. And when you combine that with his relentless mindset, what you get is a player who doesn't just dominate games but redefines what opponents must prepare for. The strategy isn't about stopping him, it's about surviving him, about minimizing the damage, about hoping he doesn't tilt the game completely in his favor. For fans, Zion's presence is magnetic. Crowds erupt at every thunderous dunk, every spin move into the paint, every and one that leaves him flexing at the baseline. There's electricity in the air every time he touches the ball, a sense that something unforgettable could happen at any moment. His highlights don't feel routine, they feel like celebrations of human possibility, of what happens when strength and athleticism meet artistry. And Zion knows it too. He feeds off the crowd, embraces the spotlight, and performs with an awareness that his game is as much about spectacle as it is about results. Yet beneath the flash lies a foundation of substance. The relentless rebounding, the smart cutting, the willingness to absorb double teams to free teammates, the unselfishness in transition. He is not just a showman, he is a competitor who understands the gravity of his presence. When we talk about players who overwhelm defenses, we often separate them into categories. The bruisers who overpower, the slashers who attack with speed, the finesse players who finish with touch.